Guys, rent issues can be devastating. Hi everyone, welcome back to These and Details with me, Esinam Susudis. And yes, I'm in braids. Some of you wondering, get away, cry. What does she want to do with her hair? I'm in a very toxic relationship with my hair, and I'm the toxic one. So today we are delving straight into rent issues. Remember our last video? I spoke about how I got employed and then I had to start figuring out rent and everything. But the real details of the story is what I'm going to be sharing today. The stress I had to go through trying to find the perfect place, the perfect location. I mean, closer to my work, the proximity to work, and everything. So here it goes. Hi everyone, welcome back to These and Details with me, Esinam Susudis. In our previous video, I spoke about trying to get rent and all those kind of stuff. But today I'm going to give you the details about all my rent wahala. I think it's one of the things we don't really talk about amongst young adults. That trying to get a place can be very daunting. I mean, emotionally draining. And I'm going to share my ordeal. So, like I said in the last video, my previous office had extended my stay from September to December. And my rent had ended in September. And I didn't even know I was going to stay on for a while. So I just got a hostel, lived in it for 3 months. And then in that process, in November 2021, my church was having a program called Season of Waiting. And on the second day, one of the elders introduced me to a lady called Mrs. Prisla Boachiado. So we kind of hit it off and then we became friends. So fast forward, December, I'm back in Kumasi. I'm trying to reach a lot of people to help me secure accommodation and all that, but it was becoming very difficult. So a friend of mine, who is currently at graduate school, called Edward Osei Boateng, volunteered to go around with me to look for an apartment. We got an agent. This agent says he was going to take 50 CDs for every viewing. And he got us a couple of places. My God, they were terrible. The kind of spaces people are giving out for rent, like really. So we tried working. We found a lot of places. I got this place I really liked, but it was going for 12K. And trust me, I didn't have that kind of money. They were taking 2 years advance. So the agents got us another place in an area called Emina Boedi. So we get there, and there are two buildings on a compound. One building belongs to the landlord, and then the other building is supposed to be the one that I'll occupy. So the other building has been divided into two. So the part that I was going to occupy was such that it's been divided into three. So first room is the hall, second room is the kitchen, and then the third room is the bedroom and then the bath. There was no linkage. So it meant that in order for me to go to the other room, I literally have to step out and then move. But there was a big veranda in front of the three rooms. So it kind of served as a place where I could put plants, put any other thing that I wanted. Ideally, it's not a space I would have gone for, but I was so desperate. So I was really, really desperate. And desperation would make you settle for anything. Like I said, I've been newly employed. I don't have a place to stay. I was in a hostel for some time, and now students are going to resume. So I have to make sure like I put everything in order before I even start job start working proper. We met this landlord. I was with Eddie and then the agent, and then we met the landlord. And then I had cut my hair, like shorts with the line here and everything. I was wearing shorts, I was wearing a shirt. Landlord sees me and he's like, wow, you're nice. I really like you. I think you'd be a good tenant. I didn't like the vibe because you met me 2 seconds ago and you're saying I'm nice. No, I'm not, too. I'm not that nice. So he said, you're nice and everything. You're going to be perfect for this place. I'm taking 10K for 2 years. I'm like, yo, I don't have 10K. And he was like, okay, how much do you have? I said, I really don't have 10K. You have to reduce the cost of the whole apartment so that I can move in as soon as possible. And he said, okay, he's going to reduce it. We negotiated and then it got to 8,500. So I told him that, you know what? It's January, and I really don't have cash. I'm cash strapped. So I'm going to give you 4,000 for January, and then February I'm going to pay 4,500, and then I would have sorted out my 2 years rent. And he was like, okay, that's a fair deal. So I sent him 3,500 because that's what I had at the moment. And then I was like, okay, can I move in? He said, oh no, you have to give me a month more to put the place in order because your kitchen doesn't have a sink, your bathroom doesn't have ABC. I was like, you know how desperate I am. I'm in a hurry to move. He said, no, I have to give him a month. So I got back to the hostel and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Then it clicked that I had visited Prisla once, and Prisla lives in a 2-bedroom apartment. Her husband happens to be in Accra and she's in Kumasi. But in December, when I was going back home, I moved back with Prisla because she had gotten a job in Accra, so she had to move. But her apartment in Kumasi was just available. So I called her, asked her if it would be okay for me to be in her apartment until mine is ready. And she said, oh, that's fine. There's no problem with that. And thank you, Prisla, for doing this. I really appreciate it. So dates is one of the things that people have done for me that really moves me. I appreciate it. So I moved in. And then once in a while, I'll call on the landlord. I'm like, landlord, how far? He says, so give me a week. I'll be done. Landlord, how far? Give me a day. I'll be this. I'll be that. And he was calling me periodically to update me. Oh, we've fixed your louvers. We've done your this. We've done your that. And I was really happy about it. So one dawn, around 5 a.m., I get a call and it's from him. I'm like, who the hell call someone at 5 a.m., especially someone you're not friends with? So I did not answer. When I was going to work at 8, like before 8 a.m., and then I called him and I was like, oh, I missed your call. What's up? And he needs to see me. He wants us to have a tete-a-tete. That's basically what he used. He wants me to tell him how I'm going to pay for the rest. I'm like, we've already discussed this, so I don't know why we are still having this conversation. He says, oh, he wants us to put a few things on the table. I was like, okay. And then he asked when I would be willing or available to see him so that we talk. And then I said, okay, I'll find a time and then we'll come. I said, okay. He called back and said, oh, the place is actually 99% done, so I need to clean the place. I was like, okay, fine. So Prisla's cousin at a point would come in and then live with me for a while. And I asked if she would be willing to help me go clean up the apartment. And she said, oh, that's fine. So Prisla and I picked the mop, picked the broom, picked washing powder, scrubbing brush and everything. Then we took a boat, went straight to the hostel or the apartment. God, we scrubbed. We scrubbed the hall, scrubbed the kitchen, scrubbed the bathroom, the bedroom, the veranda. We cleaned. We cleaned the whole place. And then right after cleaning, the following day, this man calls me and says he needs to talk to me. I'm like, what is going on? So he said he needs to talk to me. It's urgent and everything. And I said, okay, I'll be able to see him over the weekend because I'll be working. And he said, okay, that's fine. Then it dawned on me that I don't have to go alone. So where I used to work, my boss, my previous boss, is like family to me. He and his wife, they've been extremely supportive and they're like my guardians here. So they take care of me when I need anything. So I spoke to him, Mr. Charles also entry, and I said, boss, this landlord is saying ABC. I want to go with you. And he said, okay, let's go. It was a Saturday. And then one of the workers there, who was a woman, also volunteered to go. And then one guy in my office, I called my office boyfriend, Anthony, also volunteered to go. So it was 3 of them plus myself, and we went to the house. So immediately we got to the apartment, they decided to just go to my place, check the room out and everything. Whilst the other building which I said belongs to the landlord, I went in there, knocked on the door, then the landlord came out. When he came out, he saw the people I was with, but they were walking into my apartment. So he was acting all chill. And then he brought out 2 seats, said, sit down. I sat. Then he also sat down. And I was like, you wanted to talk to me and everything. What is the problem? He said, well, he wants us to make arrangements concerning payments. I was like, yo, that reminds me. I gave you 3,500 whilst I had promised to pay 4,000 the first month. So I have with me 500 CDs to add up, making 4K for the first month. meaning that I'm still within time. I'll finish paying my 4,005 at the end of February. He said, well, that's what we discussed, but now I don't think you can move into the apartment because you've not paid in full. I'm like, no, that's not the agreement we had. The agreement was I paid 4,000 for the first month, then the rest in February. No, but okay, you have a plan. Your bedroom, you have, he said he has 2 bedrooms in his apartment. He thinks it would be okay for me to move into one of the bedrooms. And then when I'm done paying the 4,005, then I can move into my apartment. And then I was like, so I've paid for 4,000. I can't move in, but I have to move in with you. Make it make sense. And I was like, oh, people and money, the kind of relationship we've built. Yo, we've not built any relationship. I met you like how many minutes ago? And it's like, yo, because of the relationship we've built, I don't want money coming in between us. So I think it would be safe for you to live here. I was like, you know what? I didn't come alone. I came with people I trust. So let's go and then have that conversation, and then we'll see if we can actually agree on something. And he said, okay. So he left his apartment and then followed me into mine. When I got there, I was like, oh, meet Mr. Charles. He's my boss, but I call him my daddy. Meet Madam Jemima. She's my boss, but I call her my mom here. And meet Tony, my office boyfriend. Then his demeanor changed. And I was like, okay, so what are you guys here for? And I was like, well, they take care of me whilst I'm here. So I feel it would be good to include them in this decision, know the agreements I've made with you, and then follow up and everything. Okay. And then my boss took over. I was like, oh, what agreements have you made with Essie now? And then he was like, oh, she's promised to pay this, that she's paid so far 3,005. She says she has 500 here to make 4K. But I can't let him move in. I can let him move in with me. And my boss was like, move in with you how? Well, she has to pay. I said, no, this person has paid 4,000. Ideally, you would even assume the 4,000 is for a year. At the mention of a year, this man flipped. What the hell is my boss talking about? He has built his house and the guy just got angry out of nowhere. And my boss was like, oh no, please relax. I'm not saying she has paid for a year, even though it might translate as that. All I'm saying is today she's at your mercy. She needs help. Mainly because she's a freshly employed person. She hasn't saved for this and everything. And I think she didn't really have the foresight to know that the agreement was not a good one, because there's no way she'd be able to raise that amount of money within 2 months. But I think she's done well by raising 4K so far. So today she needs you. It's life. You don't know when you might also need her. So please help her, make sure she moves in and everything. This man said no. He was really, really angry. Why did my boss mention 1 year? And he doesn't like that. He thinks it would be good for me to move in, blah, blah, blah. It was just wild. And then my boss was like, okay, then if that's it, then he doesn't know what we can do. He thinks I have paid for at least a year, so I should move in. He said we should move out. We should get out of his house. And my boss was like, at least listen, no, get out of my house. You hear from me later. It's like, okay. Then we all left. With our embarrassed faces and shamed faces, we all left. And then, funny thing is, even in my desperation, when he threw us out, I felt settled in my heart. I was really, really happy this wasn't going to happen. Because if someone is genuine and they really want to help you and they want to meet you halfway, I don't think something as trivial as someone mentioning that I've paid at least a year rent would make you pissed or make you upset. And I think when he realized that I had people I was accountable to who could once in a while come in and check on me, freaked him out. That's what I think. So we left. And then he said I'll hear from him on Monday. I waited the whole of Monday. He didn't call me. Then Tuesday morning, I called him. I was like, I didn't hear from you anymore. What is the problem? And your boss, what he said, he really pissed me off. I was like, okay, crack anything. And he said, well, somebody, he started saying a lot of things that did not make sense. I was like, okay, I want my money. He said, okay, I'll give your money to you. Wednesday, as early as 6 a.m., I had an alert and my money had been sent to me. I was like, boy, oh boy. Only for me to find out that apparently my money was used to put the place together, and then someone who was willing to pay higher than I was going to pay had come for the room. So, as God would have it, a good friend of mine, Isaac Sessi, was in Accra. His apartment was there, nothing, just gathering dust, and he needed someone to move in. So I was like, yo, I don't mind, I'll move in. And he said, okay. So I moved in, paid rent, and I've been there for a year now. So that is how the whole story, yeah, that's how it goes. I know a lot of you have a lot of scary, wild landlord wahala stories you might want to share. Feel free, write it in the comment section, and then let's get interactive. Thank you so much for watching These in Details today. Like, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'm recording from e-learning studios in KNUST. All right, bye.